There is a clicker up here. Yeah, will. Actually, let's just do the rows up here. Rows, yeah, we'll do rows. Um, those are the our tech support. Could we have these major lights be dimmed a little bit? These two lights up here. Media services, is that possible? These lights. Thanks, Will. Excellent, thank you. Okay, so before we begin here, again, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be handing out some feedback it's a sheet of paper, and this is for to fill out for your classmates about how they did, to give them just another level of feedback for the presentations. So it's just, it's going to be a slice of paper, a small slice of paper. You can give them some hints of what you think that they did well, some things that they want to improve on. Make sure, keep this, professional, no comments that wouldn't be considered appropriate, let's put it that way, for the class or for a business setting. Okay? And again, this will be handed back to you all at the end, at the final. Okay, so we're going to get started shortly with the first team. So if you guys want to come up here. Also, let's have all computers shut down and facing or paying attention up here. So minimize those phone distractions. And I'm going to hand out okay, so you guys want to stand over there? Okay. Can we get the shot a little bit wider? Media services, please. Great. Yeah, that would be perfect because we don't need a podium in here. So I'm going to hand this out. If there's any questions, just let me know, and we'll get started in a minute. Okay, great.
Do you want to stand on this side? Hand it down the line. I hope so. I mean, that's the whole point, right? I actually don't hear really.
Guys, make sure when you're not talking. Okay, so we're gonna get started in a moment here. Should actually be able to minimize. Does this go away? There you go. Let me make sure this works. Why isn't this working? Okay. All right. That's yours too.
Gabby, do you want to do it since you did it in practice yesterday?
You're good. One of you guys can do it. Okay.
Just over. Ready?
Just one moment. Does everyone have the feedback form?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here today, and thank you to Akeda for allowing us this opportunity to learn from your company. My name is Madison.
I'm Ryan.
I'm Bill.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Gabby.
I don't know about all of you, but if I was told before this class had started that I would be eating roasted crickets by the end of the semester, I would be very skeptical. And now, as we all have tasted it and invested so much in this product, we feel very confident in its potential for success. The edible cricket in the Western world is often compared to the transformation of the lobster. Lobsters used to be considered food for the poor until they had the transformation that changed it to an expensive delicacy. So will crickets be able to change from being just an insect to being a keta, a fulfilling snack and protein-packed? The ingredient or the recipe of the lobster never changed. What changed was the social influences and the peer behavior towards the product. So in order for a keta to get rid of the ick factor, they need to change the way consumers perceive and behave towards their products. To do this, it's crucial to have the right target market to pave the way and influence other potential consumers. So now Ryan Doyle will introduce a target market that we felt would best fulfill this goal.
Thank you, Maddie. The target market we chose is the flexitarian. And a lot of you might be asking, what is a flexitarian? Well, a flexitarian is someone who focuses on fruits and vegetables as the main focal point of their meals. They still consume meat, just in smaller portions or as a side dish to their entree. A reason someone might turn to the flexitarian lifestyle is because of animal welfare. They're very concerned on how animals are treated in the meat production industry. Since flexitarians don't consume a lot of meat, they turn to suitable protein replacements and other exotic food trends in the industry. Flexitarians are typically open to these trends because of how health-focused they are, and it will improve their overall well-being. And the flexitarian lifestyle is growing in the US rapidly, with 22.8 million American flexitarians already. Positioning, we believe flexitarians is a good market for a keta because how open-minded they are. Cricket consumption in the US is still new and unfamiliar to most US consumers, so we believe that flexitarians are the right market to target because of how open-minded they are. And flexitarians are also very concerned about the environment and where their food actually comes from. This is a benefit for a keta because how eco-friendly of a company they are. They use 100% of their cricket, which leads to 0% animal waste. They are the first cricket-based snack company, which will make it easy for flexitarians to incorporate into their diet, either on the go or as a topping for their salad, so they get the additional protein while eating the vegetables they love. I'm now going to hand it off to Bill to touch upon the opportunities.
Thank you, Ryan. So one of the main opportunities for flexitarians, for keta to attract flexitarians, is that it's very eco-friendly. It reduces emissions and reduces the water usage by a tremendous amount compared to other animals such as cows and chickens. And as you can see in this graph, about 9% of all carbon dioxide emissions, 40% of all methane emissions, and 65% of all nitrous oxide emissions comes from the animal sector, which is a pretty alarming amount. So if we can really get flexitarians to gravitate towards the keta, we can really reduce these greenhouse gas emissions. Another opportunity is to capitalize on these growing trends of eating healthy, sustainable foods. Keta is high in protein, with about 12 grams of protein depending on the bag, and high in vitamin B12. And it's also a great snack food as well for consumers on the go. So capitalizing on both of these opportunities can be very beneficial for a keta. There are also, however, some barriers. Price is a big one. It is $3.99 for a bag of crickets. But one of the things that we realize is that flexitarians are actually willing to pay more for a product that has health and environmental benefits, which is exactly what a keta has. Also, there are availability and awareness barriers. Right now, a keta is only sold online, which is why not a lot of people really know about it. But one of the things that we can do is increase social media awareness, and maybe if we get into Whole Foods where shoppers can try the products there, that can really eliminate some of these barriers. And then lastly, the packaging. There's a cricket right on the front of the package, which might deter some shoppers from buying it. But if we can really create a positive perception in flexitarians, in the minds of flexitarians, that mindset can hopefully transfer over to other consumers as well, eliminating a lot of these barriers. So I'm now going to hand it over to Ryan Gluck to talk about the demographics.
Thanks, Bill. So 7% of millennials identify as flexitarian, although there's a lot more that actually are flexitarian. They just don't identify, as opposed to 3% of all consumers identify as flexitarian. So we want to choose the millennial flexitarian because we believe that they would be the most willing to try the Akeda products and incorporate them into their lives. Millennials are also more familiar with alternative diets such as vegetarianism and flexitarianism, and also are more willing to incorporate them into their lives. 38% of Americans already eat one meatless meal per week, so there's room for opportunity to grow in the market. And although meat products have gotten less expensive over the past couple years, they don't reflect the benefits that flexitarians are searching for with regards to health benefits, environmental benefits, and financial stability. And like Bill said before, they will spend more money on certain products, however, if they reflect the benefits and values that flexitarians are looking for. With regards to the lifestyle of a flexitarian, flexitarianism has been around for a long time, but has recently become more popular when registered nurse Dawn Jackson Blandner released her 2008 book, The Flexitarian Diet, and the trend has just taken off from there. Flexitarianism is also a happy medium between full-on vegetarianism and eating meat during every meal. And flexitarians will also eat out and have home-cooked meals. Just when they eat out, they're more particular with what restaurants they go to and what meals they choose off these menus. And then I want to emphasize that flexitarianism, although the title of the book says diet, it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle. Diets are more for a finite period of time, and lifestyles are for, they want to incorporate them into their lives for the foreseeable future.
So above all else, the flexitarian places emphasis on two things: flexibility and sustainability. For a flexitarian, there is no perfect diet. The best lifestyle places an emphasis on foods that they really love, but a bigger emphasis on the healthiest foods, fruits and vegetables. Additionally, they're not picky in regards to their food choice. They're open to the opportunities for new food products, even if they may not have wanted to try those food products in the past. Additionally, sustainability is at the forefront for the flexitarian. In their eyes, it is in their power to positively or negatively affect their own life and the life of those in the environment around them. So where's the value in the flexitarian? For starters, when an individual decides that they want to decrease their meat consumption, they don't do so arbitrarily. More specifically, a flexitarian is going to educate themselves to some degree on the nature of the food industry and how their choices can affect their health and the environment's health. In knowing this information, we see the flexitarian as an attentive and engaged consumer that's willing to learn about Akeda as a brand and thus more willing to purchase the product. Additionally, when a flexitarian can truly find a brand that it can stand behind, it's much more willing to spend more money on the product and also more loyal and likely to repurchase. So this leads us to our strategic plan, and it begins with an objective: to change our social media presence to one that emphasizes normalcy, not just specialty. So we all know that Akeda is a special brand that has unique products, but the idea and concept of consuming insects isn't new and it's not a fad. So we want to try to use social media so we can showcase that eating insects is normal. 80% of the world is already doing so. So we know that flexitarians are open more now than ever to try new foods. Years ago, the idea of decreasing one's meat consumption wasn't a large thought, but today it's considered normal. The idea of cricket consumption can become the new normal, and we believe that social media is the best way to get there. We essentially want to bring the Akeda brand to life. We want to showcase through video how our audience can implement Akeda's product in their daily routine. Recipe videos, for example, are a great way where our consumers can see how individuals cook with the product and actually show them consuming the product. So they know this is real, this is normal, 80% of the world is already doing it, why not you? Additionally, in leveraging social media, we can also enhance how we showcase both our educational and our environmental efforts. Akeda is a brand that flexitarians can really admire, and it's time to show this through our social media.
Some things we would like you to take away as we conclude our presentation is that flexitarianism is unlikely to go away, as socially and environmentally conscious millennials are becoming the largest share of the overall marketplace. If Akeda changes the way they market themselves and market their products, they could really thrive in gaining this upcoming lifestyle trend. We would strongly like to urge that they use social media to the best of their ability, as it is an unlimited source of communication that can reach millions of potential consumers. Finally, as our friends at Akeda would say, change your diet and change the world. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. That was good. Okay. So, thank you. I'm going to have you guys stand up here for a moment. I'm also going to switch off this image up here. And Vincent, I think you should be there.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, awesome presentation. And to be honest, I'd say flexitarianism is one of the few demographics we haven't even considered. So I think you guys really opened my eyes to the potential there. And yeah, I have a couple questions once we get there.
Do you have any questions for the group right now?
Yeah, I do. The first one is, so obviously you outlined tons of reasons why flexitarianism, but is there any reasons why not a different target demographic, like the eco-friendly eaters, the sustainable crowd, the paleo movement? I mean, you gave tons of great reasons why, but is there any particular why not for a different target demographic, or why you could choose this one over another one?
Yeah, absolutely. Can you hear me? Okay. So for the flexitarian, we know a lot of people are trying to decrease their meat consumption, but the flexitarian is unique. They're not completely eliminating meat, either because they don't want to or they don't think that they can. So essentially, they're trying to change their diet drastically from something they've never really thought of trying before. So they're in this state of mind where they're open to other opportunities that they haven't been so in the past. So we believe that they're never going to move towards the no meat at all. So we believe that they're in the best mindset to be open and aware to other food groups because they're in this new state of mind.
Okay, I think that's a great reason. Another question I had was in regard to the videos you said you wanted to create at the end. Were there any specs specifically on what the best format would be for those, or what would get the best engagement? I love the tasty videos in general that are becoming really popular. But do you guys have any recommendations for specs?
So I guess one thing that we really saw in like your current social media was it showed the food beautifully, but it was very static. So I guess I know that sometimes you highlight individuals that already consume your product. So I guess just engaging them more, having them show how they use Akeda in their recipes, making it seem more normal and not just a final product. I feel the final product is maybe what scares consumers. So if they can see how they can create this product and make it seem more normal, that's what we believe is the best way to go.
Cool, completely makes sense. Yeah, those were my biggest questions. That's all for me.
Thanks, guys. All right, thank you so much. All right, so yes, if you want to bring the microphone, and we'll get set up with group number 3 going second. We'll do that. Thanks. Thanks, Vincent.
Yep.
Yeah, I probably want to turn off your microphone as we go back here. All right. Oops. Do this one way. Yeah. Come on, be nice. Okay.
We have a little, yes, we have a little, we need it though. We need it though.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay. The clip is right there.
Okay. Oh. Do we have it all up? Okay.
On the TV's okay.
You did it. Katie.
Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you for coming, and thank you to Akeda for this awesome opportunity. I'm Katie Babinski.
I'm Karina Batista.
I'm Liam Boyle.
I'm Alyssa DeCandelo.
And I'm Kyle Rodier.
Say, Kyle. What's a bug's favorite sport?
I don't know, Liam. What is it?
Cricket. Thanks, guys.
Okay, so now that we had some fun, let's get into the Akeda presentation and the Aspire Food Group. So imagine this. You and your friends find this awesome new hiking trail that you decide to check out. You take your book bag and you pack it up with the essentials like some water bottles, an extra pair of clothes, an extra pair of shoes. But you don't know how long you're going to be on the trail, so you're going to need some sort of snack, preferably something that's going to keep you going throughout the trail. What if you had a snack that was high in protein, sustainable to the environment, and overall tasted great? What if that snack was edible crickets?
Adventure is out there. This quote will be the premise for not only Akeda, but our target market, and I will go into further detail within the next few slides.
So if a lot of people in the marketing industry, and all of us very well know, there's a lot of great opportunity with the millennial generation. There are 83.1 million millennials in the United States alone. And these millennials have a purchasing power over $200 billion annually, and that number is only growing. Another area that people really have not looked into or given much thought so far is the amount of people that spend time outdoors. In this study here, we can see that the camping frequency among U.S. residents has only grown over the past few years, going from 58% to 61% from 2014 to 2016. Inside this same growing market, there is the group millennials that show the most passion for this outdoor activities. 51% of millennials say they want to increase their camping trips and spend more time outdoors. With this time outdoors, they're going to need more snacks to fuel these adventures.
So for our target market for Akeda, we're mainly looking towards millennials between the ages of 18 and 32. And the type of millennials we're looking to target are the ones who enjoy outdoor activities such as hiking, fishing, camping, hunting, and mountain biking.
Okay, so we wanted to focus on cities where these types of millennials would be going to or living in. So going off of what Alyssa was saying, they enjoy hiking, camping, fishing, so they need to have the area to do so. So you can see the trend on the coast, which is common for any trend, but also in the Midwestern cities, those are known for their great outdoors and their big skies. So, that would be an excellent opportunity for them to be in.
So along with all these opportunities, there are barriers to this. So some of our competitors of this are going to be granola brands, trail mix brands, and protein bars. Here we see these charts depicting the top 5 brands in trail mix sales. And with trail mix, the industry is dominated by private labels. And the problem with that is that they're hard to compete with because they're often cheaper because it's a private label. And also Kraft Foods, Hershey, Cars, and the Snack Club are just kind of the major players in this industry. But we could still have a great impact. And really, if you look at this, the opportunity is that there is such a large market and it just keeps growing. If we look over at the granola sales, it's generally dominated by General Mills and Quaker Oats. But one of the competitors that we have to focus on, and it's going to be one of the largest problems with Akeda, is Kind Bar. Kind Bar also has a similar target market of outdoor adventurers who care about the environment and want a good, healthy snack. So we're going to have to focus on dealing with them and just moving forward and breaking those barriers.
So now we're going to talk about strategy in store after we know what our target market is and who our competitors are and who have tapped into this market. So we can see we've listed a few stores here, Cabela's, Aria, and Bass Pro Shops. We all know these are more of an outdoorsy, adventurous type. These are where we want to target mostly. And there's this obvious stigma, this yuck factor about a cricket. So with our target market being millennials, we know money's a little tight at times. So they might be hesitant to want to purchase, especially a bag that's $3.99, a little expensive, but something they might not like. They don't want to take that risk if they know they like something else. So if we have these in-store sampling, they can get it for free, they can try it, and they'll like it. It's a great product, so once they get over this stigma of this yuck, they'll want to purchase it on their own. And these are obvious stores you want to hit, but there's also the unobvious stores such as national parks and camp stores. A lot of times, these millennials and backpackers in general go out, they eat what they packed, or they didn't pack what they wanted, or they didn't bring enough. So they had to go to these camp stores in order to get a quick snack for this hike. A lot of times they want to go for that Kind Bar, as we've said, but we want to change that. We want them to go for these crickets because of the nutritional value they have and the easiness and stability. And going forward, after we tap into this market, we want to go towards more of a private label with Lidl and Trader Joe's. One very important thing, a beneficial thing about Trader Joe's, they have great loyalty, and they have almost an infallible way about them. So when someone goes to Trader Joe's, they see crickets, they know that Trader Joe's has given them great product before, so they know this is also going to be a great product.
So we all know that millennials are the primary social media users. With that said, using their social media applications to its greatest potential would benefit them greatly. This can be done through gamification. So for example, consumer could play a game and then they win a promo code for free shipping or 10% off. And that's a win-win for both the consumer and Akeda by having that direct interaction with them. And then I'd like to point out specifically their Instagram. 46% of millennials check their Instagram daily, and I'm sure if you ask this group of students, it's probably 100%. So using that just not only for games and pretty pictures, but also for telling their story. It's an incredibly unique story, and they have such an amazing motivation to do so well. So telling that story, millennials are incredibly ethically driven, whether it's paying their employees correctly or fair trade, that end decision will affect it. So, and then going forward, philanthropy, partnering with charities like TerraCycle for their packaging, or the UN's FAO, work with protein, or Action Against Hunger, those would all benefit them.
So going off of what Nina and Liam said, packaging and product placement in a store is vital, but most importantly, packaging is what's going to draw your customer in, and that's going to what builds that relationship, and that's going to what brings them to repurchase your product. It's going to be what they look for when they come to the grocery store. So maintaining the lightweight and functionality of the packaging is very important for our target market, because they're going to be taking this product and putting it in their book bags or pockets. So they're going to want that resealable pouch and the lightweight pouch as well. We suggest that maybe having a recycle packaging would be very vital for this target market, because that way not only will the target be having a sustainable product, but they'll be eating from a sustainable packaging as well. So packaging made out of recycling goods could be very vital for this product. Going forward, biodegradable products are also a great thing to look at, because if they're taking these products out on their adventures with them, they'll have the biodegradable product and there's chance of it being lost. So if they drop it, it will be biodegradable and friendly to the environment. Also stressing farther the value that Akeda offers, which is sustainability in their products.
So to wrap this up in conclusion, we want to focus on these 3 points, specifically the millennial adventure. We know this is our target market. We wanted to pick millennials because they're more cutting edge, they're more hip, they're more trying to get with the times. So we know they're going to want to try new things, such as a cricket. The thing is, too, we want to focus on the adventurous type, because if someone goes into a store and they want to buy a bag of Doritos, that's not something we can really compete with. We need to be able to change their mindset to healthier snacking. Instead, we want these millennials that are going and buying these Kind Bars, buying these trail mixes, to try to get them to try something new. And then this ties right into the storefront. We're not going to really focus on like a Acme or a Giant, just because millennials aren't going in there. They're going in there to get their grocery, get their milk, butter, but they're not doing huge sales. They're usually doing it week to week. So if they're going on a camping trip, they go to Cabela's, they'll see this, and this is where we want them to associate Akeda with. We want them to associate these crickets with this outdoorsy type. And finally, just to wrap this all together, we want Akeda to be above the rest, and that means in everything. That can be in sustainability, that can be in taste, anything you can think of. We want Akeda to be the rest. And we've laid out some points of how they can do that, revamping social media, making it more user-friendly, making it more associable with millennials. We talked about being more sustainable with packaging, maybe a biodegradable packaging. Anything we want to choose, any direction we want to go down, Akeda needs to be above the rest in everything. Thank you so much for your time. If you have any questions, please ask. We'd be happy to answer. Thank you.
All right, thank you guys so much. Just jumping in, another great presentation. Can you guys hear me okay, by the way, before I keep going?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're actually going to, it's called Outdoor Retailer. It's the biggest like REI type conference that's available for that adventurous type. And that is a demographic that we also haven't hit on yet. That conference is in January. So I would love any of the information that you pulled on that target demographic and those types of stores as well. As talking points, I think it would be great to do a deep dive with your data before that conference. And then in regard to packaging insights, really that just comes down to price for us right now. We want to obviously have fully recyclable and sustainable packaging, but since we already have pretty high priced products for the market's taste, that is a little bit down the list for us on completely actionable. But a question I had was, you mentioned Trader Joe's as a great place to get into. Were there any other specific locations? Obviously, Trader Joe's is a big name, but is there any potentially like lower hanging fruit for us?
Well, we brought it up before. I don't know if you can really see it, but Lidl, it's a German-based company. They're coming over. We think that would also be, it's kind of a Trader Joe's-esque. And since it's a little lesser known, it would be a little lower end, so we'll be able to tap in a little bit more. Because especially if we get it in Akeda into those stores when they first come over, when they first start getting popular, people associate Akeda more with Lidl instead of more of like Trader Joe's who have established and they see Akeda like, oh, that's a cool novelty. But really we want to say, oh, Akeda, Lidl, Akeda, like there's association back and forth. So I think that would be a good story.
Can I, wait, is this?
Cool. That sounds great.
I'll jump in here, for a second. This is on. Does anyone want to mention a problem between Lidl and Trader Joe's? Do you guys know who owns Trader Joe's? Yeah. Oh.
The owner of Trader Joe's and maybe that's Aldi, the owner of Aldi, I think they're brothers.
Yeah.
They're not brothers, they're owned. Or, sorry, Aldi owns Trader Joe's.
Right, and then,
Yeah, so that was, yeah.
yeah, they're competing German.
Right, so they're competing German companies. I'm also repeating for the microphone. So that would be problematic. It would be one or the other. They're also known for being low-cost retailers. So that's a positioning that might be a little inconsistent right now with the price point of it, but for wider distribution, that could be an interesting option. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I brought up to you guys how we did get into Costco, but ultimately we just couldn't make the price work. So yeah, that's a great point.
Any other comments, Vincent?
I know a couple other members from our team joined, so they may have something at some point. I don't think they do right now, however. So I think we're all good here.
Okay, great. Yeah, when we're done to, if anyone wants to type in questions within the chat room, we can address those at the end too. It's just me pulling those up.
Okay, perfect.
Excellent. Okay, thanks guys, and thank you team, and we'll have prepare for the next one.
Oh, the clicker. Okay, I'll just do it and I'll pass it. Okay, yeah, that's fine.
All right, good morning. We're Group 4. My name's Tori Alpha.
I'm Matt Dangler.
I'm Pam Donifrey.
I'm Rachel McGrath.
And I'm Bridget Feelong.
And we're excited to share with you our Akeda marketing strategy. So first I'm going to talk a little bit about our insider source and how they inspired our strategy. So we chose Taqueria Feliz, and as many of you know, it's a popular restaurant located in Main Street in Manayunk. It's an area that attracts trendy foodies and also appeals to millennials. Our inspiration came from the fact that they use grasshoppers in one of their dishes as a main ingredient. So we think that as consumers can become more comfortable with consuming insects as a part of a dish rather than just on their own, they'll be more likely in the future to reach for a bag of crickets as a snack. So we wanted to learn more about what the consumers thought when they first read grasshopper on the description of the menu. So we asked what their first thoughts were. The first thing they said was they wanted to know what the texture was like, and then the second thing they wanted to know was whether or not you could tell that it was a grasshopper you were eating. So as you can tell from this picture from their menu, you can tell that it's a grasshopper. They don't try to hide it. It is an ingredient on its own. And then to the right are some Facebook reviews that people posted directly to the Taqueria Feliz Facebook page about what they thought. And as you can tell, all of these ones are positive. All the ones on their Facebook page that we found were positive, and it really shows that once a consumer can get past the ick factor of looking at a whole grasshopper or cricket in our case, that there's a big potential for consuming them in the future.
So here's an overview of our presentation. One of the problems that Akeda faces is that they are a small startup company with minimal brand awareness. And as Tori mentioned, a lot of people are uncomfortable with consuming crickets, so there is a negative connotation that is associated with the product. And next we have 3 focal points that we will address throughout our presentation. The first one is the repurchase rate. The repurchase rate is something that is very important because we want to find a way that will keep consumers to continue to buy the product and continue to come back. And next we have our social media presence. Accurately advertising through social media will help us reach our target market, which is our third focal point. And then lastly, we have our solution and our strategy. We want to partner with Tasty/BuzzFeed and mimic food recipe videos. We also want to have featured flavors and products and create a loyalty program for our consumers. Our strategy includes all 3 of our focal points, which will help Akeda resolve some of the issues that they face. Next, Matt and I are going to talk about one of our focal points, which is our target market. So as many of you might agree with, our target market for Akeda is millennials. But we wanted to take it one step further and classify them a little bit more specifically.
Yeah, so we decided that the best group to target would be millennials, which are tech-savvy, adventurous, trendy, and health-conscious consumers. As we see an increased use in cell phones and technology, millennials are constantly being introduced to new ideas. With plenty of ideas and unique ways of consuming, millennials have With plenty of ideas and unique ways of consuming, millennials are more open to new up-and-coming foods than previous generations. In addition, millennials are very health-conscious consumers who are always looking for new ways to have a more healthy and balanced diet. By portraying crickets as a healthy option in the minds of millennial consumers, we can reach a potentially untapped market.
Okay, so we did some research on millennials, and we found that they were responsible for 63% of all purchases on smartphones compared to the other generations. And we also found that they were looking for a more convenient, on-the-go kind of lifestyle, which is why they're so big on online shopping. And finally, we found that they were willing to pay for health and wellness. So with Akeda being low in calories and high in protein, they fit into that where like consumers would be more willing to pay since it's considered trendy and healthy. And next, one of our 2 focal points, repurchase rate and social media. So we really want to focus on the repurchase rate because that will help increase brand awareness and help grow the company, and we're going to do that through our social media. So we found that there was a 280% increase in food channel subscriptions, and we also found that millennials view food videos 30% more than any other demographic. So that backs up our reasoning to use a Tasty video because it shows that millennials are really into the food videos and they're watching them. And millennials are known as the digital generation, so they always go online to get their news, to shop, to communicate with others. So it's really imperative that Akeda promotes their products online to help increase their sales. And then in this graph right here, you can see that Facebook is used more than all the other social media platforms, and that's where majority of the Tasty videos are shown. So that's how we know that we would get our most views, by sharing the Tasty videos on Facebook. And then we're just going to talk more specifically about Tasty.
Okay, so why Tasty? So one of the main reasons why we decided to go partner up with Tasty to go towards our strategy is because they reach the market that we're seeking, which is millennials ages 18 to 34. So Tasty gets about 500 million views per month, which would be huge if Akeda was featured on their site, because that would just promote so much publicity or attention to Akeda. And also they have, another cool thing is they have like a square feature on their phone. So this is easy for millennials to watch on their phone and like watch the videos instead of just sitting on their computer if they don't have time, because they're known as obviously on the go. So recently BuzzFeed has been showcasing food brands in about 1/3 of their videos. So an example of this happening is with Oster Grill. So they recently came out with a video using hamburgers, and excuse me, the grill of choice that they used was Oster. And so within hours of this video coming out, they sold out at Amazon and Target.com. So as you could tell, that's huge. So if Akeda were to be featured on this, we're hoping that something turnouts like this could happen. Another example of this is a French toast video came out and they featured Bailey's liqueur. So this video got 15 million views and almost 300,000 shares on Facebook. Bailey also reportedly said that they got 500,000 clicks on their e-commerce. So this is just 2 examples of how these 2 companies benefited so well from being featured on Tasty. So as you can see in this picture, we just screenshotted the Bailey's video. They featured the Baileys in the background. It's subtle, but it still gets the point across. They also mentioned them in their description, saying in partnership with Bailey. Oh, and also you can see right there, it says 16 million views. Okay, so now we're gonna show you our Tasty video that we made, and this is featuring an acai bowl and Akeda granola. Little Tasty video. As you can see, we took a trendy meal that millennials love, acai bowls. As you guys know, that's something that's like super trendy right now. I know I love them. And we took the Akeda granola and topped it on there subtly but powerfully, showing that Akeda can be used in so many ways and trying to get rid of that ick factor. Okay, so going off of what Pam and Rachel said before, we're trying to get that repurchase rate up. So how could we do that? We decided loyalty programs would be best. So we came up with 2. Instead of just your regular 10% off like any item after you make a purchase, we decided to take it to the next level and say 10% off a selected item. So basically what this means is we would come up with the specific item that you're gonna have 10% off of, and that's gonna be based off of each customer. So for example, if you were to buy the Akeda granola, we would say, here is 10% off the salt and vinegar crickets, instead of just saying 10% off your next order. This gets your customers super intrigued and excited about the whole Akeda market itself. Another loyalty program we said is highlighting a featured flavor. So basically we would say cricket of the month. And then, for example, we came up with, in October, we would do a pumpkin spice cricket, and we would highlight the fact that it's limited time offer and that you can only get it in this month. And we would put a lot of hype around this one product to get everyone, again, excited and intrigued, and hopefully eventually get that repurchase rate up. So now Pam is going to sum up everything we've talked about thus far and conclude our project.
So as we've mentioned, we believe that social media is the best way to reach our target market. If this is done accurately and efficiently, Akeda's brand awareness will grow. And additionally, partnering with Tasty will diminish the negative connotation that is associated with the products, and it will contribute to the growth of the repurchase rate. One of our main goals throughout our strategy was to change our consumers' perspective about crickets, so we want them to become comfortable with consuming them. And the Tasty videos does exactly this. And on top of that, having the featured flavors and the loyalty program adds a little bit of excitement and acts as an incentive for the consumers to come back and purchase more, which is all about, which we keep mentioning, our repurchase rate. We believe that our strategy is the best way for Akeda to come about and resolve some of the issues that they face. Thank you, and we hope you enjoyed our presentation.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. I know more people on our team have tuned in, so if they have any questions, please feel free to speak up. So one question I had is the restaurant focus in the beginning of the presentation, was that kind of just to set the scene for how it could spread, or is that a recommended focal point as well?
We basically just wanted to show how it is a growing thing and how restaurants can implement this, then we can implement it in our daily lives. And that restaurant actually sells about 30 orders per week, so it shows how it's a growing thing and people aren't actually that afraid of trying it if they can just get over the X factor.
Okay, got it. Cool, thanks. I definitely understand targeting the shareable videos. So that's definitely something we're going to focus on next year. What I really liked in your presentation was the 10% off specific products. Right now, we are just doing a 10% blanket or a 20% blanket over everything. So I think that's a great way to show our full product line and get people purchasing things where we want them to purchase. So I definitely like that one. And one of our big goals for next year is to increase our repeat purchase rate. So definitely liked all of those points. But yeah, that's really it on my end right now.
All right. Thank you, guys. So if you guys want, you can step down and I can have the microphone. I'm going to turn off this image here. I don't know, Vincent, with the other individuals being in the meeting, I'm trying to get this up. You can see how much I do online. Oh, yeah, so does anyone have any other, we have a chat or you can use your microphones. Is there any other questions for our teams from y'all?
I will get people to message anything. I think they'll probably feel more comfortable with that rote right now.
Sure. So yes, so there is the option for the chat if you want to do the chat. I will, let's see, and we have a little time here. Actually, so the groups, if you guys can all come up, the 3 groups, so have you up here. So if there's any questions, number 1. No, you guys can be up here. I think that we can see everyone. No, you can stay down here. Sorry, I'm not using my words correctly. So I do want, so our first group, just a question. You mentioned about the social media, having social media. I know this is hard for the camera and you're not facing, but I'll give you the microphone in a minute. It was a general strategy of reaching out through social media. Can you provide some more specifics regarding how you feel with the flexitarians? What really would resonate with them in terms of, you talked about the static pictures or having more of that interaction. How would you make that happen with your flexitarian market?
For example, when we were coming up with this strategy, we were looking at Akeda's social media accounts and their Instagram.
it's great. There's so many food recipes on there, but what we felt would be more effective is if they kind of change the way they target the consumers. And even just the hashtags that we had up on screen, a little hashtag can go a long way, and those can influence the flexitarians by getting onto their accounts. And the videos we would want be on their Instagram or even Twitter, and making their Twitter more active. As we said, millennials are always on. They're always looking, and the hashtags go a long way. And we want their Instagram to be less of just the pictures of food and more of it as a reality, and more seeing the consumers eating the products and see how they actually incorporate it in their lives.
I'll add on to that. So when you look at their so when you look at their social media, it kind of looks like they take a dish that you really like, and if you're kind of wary about eating crickets, let's just say you really like pancakes. I know that's one example. They have a picture of beautiful pancakes and then crickets on top. If you see that, you're kind of skeptical about that. However, our intention is kind of like what the one group did, to make a video and showcase how you can use that product within a recipe. This is going to open up that door to the flexitarian market, because they're already kind of engaged in reevaluating their diet altogether. So in showing how they can implement the product in there, and not just showing, oh, here, take your favorite food, add some crickets on top. It's just a totally different way of showcasing it to that target market.
Okay, so staying with you guys, other question is specifically, do you see that there's particular messages, words that resonate with this flexitarian lifestyle? I thought it was interesting when the pie graphs that you had, there was no omnivores or it was just flexitarians, vegans, and vegetarians. There was no one else defined. I'm not quite sure exactly how that worked, but so it shows that there's a majority, I'm presuming, out there. But is there particular messages within this lifestyle that you think that would be good for ACADA to put forward? I don't know, we're gonna go there.
Okay. So, what I found in my research was that they like the story message of how people are like incorporating into their lives, and how like you guys have a palm weevil larva farm in Ghana, and how I was thinking maybe you could show a video of how someone in Ghana was like eating the palm weevil larva, and how they moved over to the United States, and then how they've incorporated eating crickets and other insects into their lives, and how they can share it with their friends, and how it's just a web effect from there to eventually a good amount of people eating crickets.
So one concern we had with that was like the difference in insects between palm weevil larvae and crickets. I'd say crickets are a little bit more palatable. Not that I've had palm weevil larvae yet, but just from a visual standpoint. So I think if anything, we're trying to get away from the palm weevil and that side of things, at least in the American public-facing side of things.
Yeah, I agree. And I think what Ryan was mainly trying to say was that our intention is to showcase the big benefits of ACADA as a brand, which is that sustainability and the impact that they're making in the environment. So if we can showcase that more on social media, that's one of the main things, sustainability, that matters to the flexitarian. So if they see that in the brand, they're more likely to do research. They're an educated group of consumers who are already reevaluating their diet. So in seeing those essences from a brand, they're more likely to go out of their way and research further.
Got it. One question I had for all three groups was, at some point you guys all mentioned packaging and redesigning that and making that more appealing to our target demographics. Do you guys have any packaging specific feedback or changes that you would make given what you've seen so far from our packaging?
Is it on? Okay. Well, I think especially what we were saying with the adventurous type, the granola packaging, where it's that like light brown earthy material, I think that really plays well with the sustainability aspect of it, because it's kind of seeming like going back with the earth. With the whole cricket, that sleek black one, it doesn't really seem to fit with that message of being sustainable because it seems so kind of artificial. Not to like offend you or anything, just it seems like with preaching, and it's very good, the sustainability aspect, which is probably like the biggest selling point you guys can have. Going with it, with that granola aspect where it's the same earthy tones probably is a better fit. That's what we're thinking.
Yeah, going off of what Liam just said, I personally love the package that you guys have for the granola. And I feel like if you guys could mimic that or copy that throughout your whole line, I feel like that would make it more successful, just because I personally feel like it's really appealing and has that earthy feel.
Do you have any comments?
Yeah, I, for one, like, didn't like the black packaging as much. I feel like the granola is good with the clear, but as for the new packaging for the whole crickets, I don't really know where to go from there. Just keep it recyclable, I guess. I don't.
Okay, cool. We actually have some updated packaging, so I'll have to send a photo of that so you guys can check it out.
Yeah, so if there's, I don't think there's any questions unless, again, I'm not 100% sure how to work all this, but
No.
I did have another question for the second group, I guess. You mentioned gamification. How do you see, thank you, how do you see that working?
I mean, through their social media applications would be amazing for them. So just keeping that in their Instagram, their Twitter, that's an amazing way to do it. On their website is a perfect example would be Chipotle. They use their gamification through their website.
Okay, so specifics. What do you see would resonate? Is there a particular message? Is there a particular... Are you thinking of a contest? What
I was thinking more of like a game, kind of like we brought it up, what was it, the catching game, the cricket catching game. They could catch however many crickets, and then if they're over a certain amount, then they win a promo code for free shipping or the 10% off that we mentioned.
Okay. I think Katie might have a comment.
Also, another way they could do it is maybe if they choose to use our target market, the adventurous outdoor millennials, is having it on these websites like the Cabela's, REI, stuff like that, having like a little link on the side like 10% off edible crickets, play this game and you get a coupon or whatever, just something to engage with a specific target market, finding out where they're shopping or what social media applications they're using, and put the link or the gamification application on there to specifically target them and get them to see the product and the brand.
Okay, thank you. All right, so if there's the last team, I'll just have one question for you all. Did you look into any, I know videos, pretty popular idea, and rightly so. Did you look into the partnerships and the sponsorships of the videos? What are we talking about cost here? And what... Do you see anything in terms of different levels of partnerships? Any workarounds, any suggestions?
Yeah, that's actually a great question. So for partnerships, we tried to do a lot of research on that because you can't find the actual price. Like you'd have to get into contact with Tasty for that specific question. But we saw some reviews where, as we looked at different videos, you could tell there's a difference in how much it probably costs per sponsorship, because some, like as you saw with Bailey's, it was like right in your face. And then for the Oster Grill one, it was more like sort of onto the side, like you only showed it for a couple seconds, not throughout the whole video. So that's probably something to consider if you want to start out small with like just a little feature of Akeda and see if that works. And then as you find that to be more successful, then you would probably look into doing more and seeing if it's actually weighing out the benefits of the cost.
Okay, so we have another answer over here.
Yeah, for the Tasty aspect, we realized how big Tasty is, and getting a sponsorship on there would be maybe out of Akeda's price range. So we were talking, we might like suggest doing like Akeda making their own videos, like put it on their own social media, and like have a hashtag to go along with it. So every week is a new recipe. So like they'll have like a hashtag, like Aspire More or something like that, with the new recipe, to see like they'll do it on their own media to promote their own media and just go from there.
Yeah, and sorry, one more thing. Obviously, ours wasn't the best quality, and like we did what we could in the whatever short time span, the best quality we could, but it's very easy to make. Like, yeah, we put in a lot of time and effort, but this is something that you could definitely do like once a week and get like a whole team together to do these, because I see so many companies mimicking this, and like they're really popular. It's not just Tasty, it's not just that other one that's really popular. Like, I even saw Cold Stone making one this morning, and like now they already have like 3 million views, and it was like their first video. So
Great. On the line, just to push you all a little bit more to think about it, you watch these videos, so it's building awareness. There's a lot of mimicking these videos. Are there any aspects of the videos that you've seen beyond Tasty, or even including Tasty? And I can ask the audience too. I'd be interested in you, our huge audience. They can't see it on the video. Huge audience out here, very interested, and rightly so, students and others, dignitaries, etc. Is there, in Tasty videos or these videos, are there any aspects that you think, wow, that stand out to you, that you think that again, Tasty or other companies do really well, or are there ones that you just doesn't hit the mark? So in other words, can you give Aspire some inspiration or some suggestions from their target market of what resonates with you all and what doesn't?
Just an example I'm thinking of, and with the time of year it is, all the holiday recipes that Tasty has been posting on Facebook, I think are what I am personally really interested in. I think they do really well, because instead of scrolling on Pinterest or looking on the internet for different holiday recipes, Tasty gives you it right there. You can watch it as you make it. And I know Akeda has the new holiday granola flavored. So if they would be able to do a video of how they would incorporate that granola in a holiday meal that they can take to a Christmas dinner or any type of holiday dinner, I think would really resonate with consumers this time of year, and I think would be a really good touch point.
Another thing that Tasty does well, and you guys can incorporate, is how quick the videos are, because not a lot of people would stay interested in the video if it was over like 10 minutes or something. I know like Tasty, there's a very quick action and they're done within like 3.5 minutes or something like that, so that's just a good takeaway.
Also, I think that the format of the videos is very well done, because especially Bridget mentioned this in our presentation, on the phone it's that square feature and it makes it really easy to just scroll and watch it like really quick. Also, a lot of the videos incorporate all of the ingredients and how much you need, and this is really helpful because the consumer knows exactly like what they need to make this dish for them. And even so, like some of the videos even say like, oh, don't have this product, buy it here. Like that was something that could be like very helpful, and consumers will like click right onto it, like onto the website, and can buy the product there.
Any other group? Do you guys have any comments?
also, I think one of the most important things for the Tasty videos is good quality, because that's really what people look for, like the good quality of the video.
Okay, so that was all I had. If Vincent and those else who have joined, again, I don't see any.
My team failed. This one's on my team. No, I think all of the feedback that we've gotten, I think it's clear to focus on millennials, and we definitely have some video aspirations for next year, as well as the flexitarian. I'm not going to rule that out yet. But yeah, I think the common theme here was definitely emphasis on the videos. And that's something that we've already wanted to really focus on for next year. So overall, great by everyone.
Okay, thank you so much. And we'll be signing off here, and then if the reintroduction at 11:30 your time. So thank you guys all for joining us, and I really appreciate it. And great job, teams. Very nice.
All right, thank you.